It's a great opportunity, isn't it? To organize and clean out.
Oh, yeah. What would you recommend? How far along? If you don't really have to sell right away, what would you recommend to somebody? How should somebody start planning emotionally their move?
Well, I would start as soon as you can. It's not a bad idea to imagine moving even when you don't have a plan to move, just as a way of cleaning out and getting rid of things you don't really need, and having garage sales and giving things away to friends, or however you clean out. I know people who have garage sales, estate sales every year.
True.
Just as a way to keep things organized and clean and neat and tidy, and
you're prepared.
Always prepared, right?
Why do people, you see, I'm asking you about those feelings because I know you understand feelings much better than most other people, because that's what you do. Anxiety, it's a negative thing, right? And I'm wondering why people, being prepared, why does being prepared give us such a, good feelings compared to being distracted because of clutter? Do you understand the question? Do you know what I'm trying to ask you?
You mean, why is it that being organized takes the stress out?
Takes the stress out.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think it's just almost like the way we organize our thoughts, too. The people can get easily overwhelmed. And if you have too much to think about, like you said, it's a big distraction. You wind up running from one thing to another, and we feel like we're chasing our tail around. But people who tend to take things in small chunks, that relieves a lot of anxiety and stress. If you have too much to think about, there's this feeling of being overwhelmed, and then you don't know where to start first and where to... I just love making small chunks. And if I have a to-do list, I'm not going to get through the whole list, but there's always tomorrow. You do what you can without driving yourself crazy, because that can happen also. People can get carried away with a to-do list and then add all this thinking about not getting through the list and not doing enough, and all of that is so negative to evaluate, to live in this sort of evaluation of yourself and how much you're accomplishing is going to be stressful. So Definitely. It's nice to be organized, have a list, and have fun too. So if you take a day off and decide to go to the beach, enjoy that. Enjoy that time, because you're recharging your batteries, and you'll get back to your list the next day. It might rain the next day.
It might, exactly, and then you have more time. I like that. Yes, definitely. Why would you recommend to people what could result in a positive or memorable experience? I mean, we talked a little bit about it, right? I mean, we talked about just being prepared, taking breaks. I like this very much, like the taking break part. Stop the next day, go to the beach, enjoy your life a little bit in between. It's not...
Well, the wonderful thing about life in general that you can apply to moving is keeping yourself in a higher state of mind. We're all capable of doing that. We're wired up, you might say, in a way that allows us to let go of negative thoughts, to drop our, we might have the tendency to dwell on things and go over and over the same thing as though we're going to come up with some answer miraculously, and it doesn't work that way. Actually, we found that, and they've done studies on this, as people let go of their thinking, that's when creative ideas will come to them out of the blue. So taking that day off, going to the beach, ideas will come to mind about how to be creative with this move, how to think of it creatively and enjoy it, and maximize pleasure. Take the pleasure out of it, put the pleasure in it, I should say.
Yeah, exactly.
Take the stress out of it.
It's interesting you said this, and this has nothing to do with moving, but I mean, you can always transfer those thoughts to your actual move as well. But I have this even with work. Sometimes when I'm, you know how this is in real estate and in any other sales job, it's very similar. You do your own work. You're kind of in a pattern, but you're kind of stuck in your pattern sometimes. I think with every kind of work, it kind of works like this, right?
Sure.
And I realize too, sometimes, you know what, I just have to step back. I just have to let it go and let it sit there and just step out and do something else.
Yes.
And I agree. Creativity kicks in, and it's you kind of you're able to follow a different and more creative path.
Yes.
Which kind of can lead to much more success too.
Absolutely. Clearing the mind, go out, take a walk. If you're at home, take a shower.
Yeah,
whatever
exactly.
you do to clear your mind, and then you come back to something that maybe looked like a problem, and you come back to it and you see, you can see the forest for the trees, so to speak. You can really,
like this one.
amazing things happen when we clear the space for it to happen, to have a creative thought, to have often a solution to a problem will appear. It seems to appear miraculously, but it appeared because we cleared our mind.
Exactly. Putting that recess button.
It's like
Isn't that
pushing the reset button, exactly, right?
Yes, I watched this one show. I don't remember the name anymore, but I remember he pressing this reset button. I said, oh, wow, that is right. This is what we do. Even doing a move, just sit down on your chair. Let people do the work. Just sit down and take a deep breath and put this recess button.
I know.
And it can help.
Wouldn't it be great? I mean, everybody can know that, can discover that for themselves.
Yeah.
Rather than running around like a chicken without a head and then,
So how do we learn it? You see, you said it would be nice if everybody can learn it. Don't you think that a move not that everybody should move, but it would be one of those experiences you can take with you when you move? I mean, I'm just thinking about all the experience I have with moving. I kind of felt like it's molded me in this way that it's made me capable of pressing this recess button or leaning back and say, I got to step back. It's made me capable of doing much more, or to get to know me a little bit better.
Well, it's a great question. Knowing that it would be good for everyone to know, how can we get it out to everybody to recognize? And there's a wonderful resource that has just been made available to everybody. So I'll give it to you. And
Yeah,
you can,
I would love to, absolutely.
It's not my website. It comes from the UK, actually. But they're interviewing people globally who have learned, we can call it a secret. It's not a secret, but this reset button that you talk about, this ability to let go of negativity and be open to more positive, creative thoughts to come to mind. So the website is all one word. The number, actually, it's the number 3 written out, so THREE.
Okay.
3 Principles, plural, 3principlesmovies.com.
Movies.com. Maybe we planned it in later. I write it down.
Yeah, it's a wonderful resource.
And what does it exactly?
Well, there are people talking about really this discovery about how to reset when we get all messed up in our own negativity, in our own whirlwind, how to understand that this clear-headedness is available to us. We call it innate health because we all have that, every human being. And they're interviewing people in the worst situations, and really good situations. So it doesn't matter who we're talking about. Every human being works the same way with their ability to think. Every one of us can get ourselves into trouble with our own thinking, can get riled up, can get worked up, can get aggravated and bothered and frustrated and wind up arguing and fighting. I'm sure you find this. People buying new homes, that can really get to the best of relationships.
Oh yeah, one of my
Right?
questions. Yeah, I heard this. A house can break a marriage. Why would that be?
Because of this, when people don't hit the reset button and they're all scrambled up and insecure and scared, and that's when they pick at each other and start arguments, and it's unnecessary. It's so unnecessary.
Because you have two very tense people,
Individuals.
right?
It only takes one tense individual, right? But whoever is more clear-headed, that person can learn how to keep their bearings, even with the other person losing theirs. So important.
You just carry it. People carry it along, right? If people are capable of carrying it
Yes.
until the big bubble burst.
Yes. But you know what'll happen? If one of the couple keeps their bearings, the other one will rise up to that.